All right, number 134 of the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another epic show. We got some fun stuff planned for today. We're going to talk about some newsy stuff, the price, and an exchange hack, which we haven't really done for a while, anything this new and fresh. But we're about to, and I think we're going to have a special guest for the second half of the show. He's super new to Bitcoin, and we always love doing that because it gets another perspective, a little bit greener ideas and questions out there. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll have some fun. I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Tim Baker, and I just dropped something. That was the noise. That was my introduction versus just my normal.
Tim, literally, I'm going to cut it out. Nobody's going to care or know, so you're done.
And John Stuart.
Such a bitch.
Yeah, John, where the heck have you been? It's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been pretty busy.
Yeah, real life. Apparently he's got big plans or something, and a job and whatever. Jobs are for losers.
Yeah.
So real quick, before we get into this price stuff, I'm going to make up for Tim's 10-minute plug last week, his absolutely disgusting, horrifying marketing scheme. And here's our 10-second plug. This week we have t-shirts for sale, Bitcoin t-shirts at ymb.tc/garb, G-A-R-B, ymb.tc/garb. We got him there. I won't even explain him because we're going to move on because Tim sucks. But whatever, I'm going to turn it over to him anyway for more sucking. What's going on here, Tim? I guess the price is going on. Does that hurt? The price is going down, not going on. The price is always going on, but it's going on down right now. Does that hurt?
The price has been going down recently, and it was already dropping for various reasons. People are starting to, worried about the fork and what that does and everything. But also, in the past day, there's been a pretty big drop, and it's kind of recovered, I think, since then. Or not recovered, but it's gone back up somewhat. But there was an exchange that got hacked for, I forget what the number was. We were looking at the news article,
it was $60 million worth of Bitcoin that they've confirmed lost or stolen. That's 120,000 Bitcoins, which is a lot. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of money, and it's
a decent amount of money, he says.
it's a trifle of money, or it's a pittance. But yeah, it's again, you don't have the coins or you don't have your keys to your coins, so there's always the risk of something getting lost, and this is obviously the worst case scenario. I don't really have any idea of how secure Bitfinex was.
I can never, ever keep track of all these stupid exchanges. For all I know, I had a Bitfinex account, and I probably had some Bitcoins in there. I have no idea. Maybe I did. I can't keep track of Bittrex and Poloniex and Bitstamp and Coinbase and Circle and and then each altcoin, they only work on some exchanges. And I'm not even a big altcoin guy, but I've had a few here and there, and goodness, I can't keep track of them. And then there's the wallets, because, like you said, Tim, you don't have your keys. And I'm completely sure that that's going to be probably our main message here for the first half of the show. We've covered hacks like this and different problems and scams and who knows what several times, but it has been a while. Like I said, it's been a while since we've really done anything newsy or like this. We're going off a story from CoinDesk here, if anyone cares. Bitcoin drops nearly 20% as exchange hack amplifies price decline. But I'm sure that's our main message here is, listen, when you've got money in an exchange, you don't have the keys. You can't control it. It could get hacked. You never know. But so I don't know, John, have you used any other exchanges? I guess you were the only one of us that got doxxed way back in the day. Did you ever get involved in other exchanges? Do you have money, or have you had money sitting around? I can't, like I said, I can't keep track of it.
Yeah. And also, just to clarify, when you say get goxed, it was like sort of.
Yeah.
I've told this story before, but it wasn't like.
Yeah, it
I
was
had
like,
all my Bitcoin
you
in there.
you only
It was
had
just
profit in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
There's the one, I can't even remember what it's called, where I think you guys probably used it too when we got Dark Coin.
Yeah. And it's been gone for a while. Cripsy, yeah.
It's been gone. I didn't even know that.
It was so secret.
I had like a tiny, probably like $5 worth of Dark Coin in there. So
I think I had like $100 worth in there. And I want to say you might have known, John. I feel like we mentioned it on the show months ago, maybe a year ago. But yeah, that's how it goes. Is you always forget about this stuff. So when there's just so much out there and so many things to keep track of. But yeah,
and it can go from that to I had 200 to I have 5 in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't even give a fuck about whatever money is in that because it's not going to be there by the time I try to take it out.
Yeah, that reminds me, Tim. We talked about selling some of our bit crystals a week or two ago, and you're like, we talked about it for a few minutes. We were texting about it, and you're like, yeah, go ahead and sell them because the price was a little high, and I just completely forgot, and the price is down like 30 or 40% now. So yeah, that's definitely a big factor. But I want to know, guys, do you think the halvening has affected this? Because they mention in here that it has been trending slowly downward since the halvening. Now, we already covered our thoughts on the price with the halvening probably 2 or 3 episodes ago. And I think we basically said, well, a lot of people thought the price was going to go up, but it remained stable. And that's actually kind of a good thing because Bitcoin has always been harassed for being volatile or volatile. I never know how to say that word. Volatile. But yeah, so that's basically all we could say is, hey, they thought it would go up, but it's been stable and that's kind of cool. But now the price is trending downward. I have a theory about how this could certainly be connected to the halvening, but before I go, I want to know what you guys think. Any ideas? Is it connected? Is it not connected? If so, how? Any thoughts?
I feel like I've just been realizing that more and more that like it seems like Bitcoin doesn't always go by the same logic as other stuff. So I don't know. It's just so hard to tell.
Oh, yeah.
Like the price goes up when you expect it to go down, and it goes down when you expect it to go up. And sometimes it does what you expect it to do. It's just like it's all over the place.
Yeah, and you almost get, after a while, maybe the term would be like price blindness or something, or like insensitivity or desensitivity, where the price swings like 20%. And you don't even notice. I mean, I barely would have noticed this if I didn't have an alert on my phone and a friend texting me like, what the heck? Why is the price going way down? But I don't even notice. And I certainly don't care anymore these days. Like, yeah, so it's down $100. I mean, it's still higher than it was a month ago, and it still might go lower, but you just end up being desensitized. And that's not a terrible thing. I don't think. I mean, that we've said since the beginning that as much as we love the price going up, it shouldn't really be the reason that you're into Bitcoin. I don't know, maybe it should. As free marketeers, maybe money should be the reason you like anything. I don't know. That's actually a really good question, which we should get to in a second. But just to finish up, yeah, I mean, in a certain sense, if you're trying to profit off of Bitcoin, like, we're not completely interested in having you around if that's your only goal. But I don't know then.
What do you mean having them around?
Well, I guess it goes back to the ideological thing where there's a lot of reasons that we like Bitcoin for privacy and just for freedom, right? Financial freedom to do what you want with your money. And if you're into Bitcoin for other reasons, then you might end up hurting us. Yeah, right? You might end up trying to regulate Bitcoin or do things by the books or whatever. So in that sense, it seems like if you're trying to profit off of Bitcoin a ton, if you're trying to be a big business, a big company, I mean, even Coinbase, like they've done great things for Bitcoin and they've done terrible things for Bitcoin just in the way that they've complied day and night. So I don't know. What do you guys think? But I mean, should people be into Bitcoin just to profit? I guess, like I said, as free marketeers, that's kind of the reason that anyone is into anything is just to make money. So
that's what's going to get, I think that's the same problem that any kind of, I hesitate to say any kind of movement, but at least any kind of a movement that's profitable or something where you're building a new, a new kind of just area where a lot of money is going to come into that idea that, where money is good for it. Like we say, like it's good to get Bitcoin to a big enough point where people can send money from, where like most people can send money from Russia to America, but then the money's probably not going to stop there. The money's going to keep on going into it, and something's probably going to get bigger. And then you start to maybe lose what kind of ideological thing it is because you can't really push it as far. Because, yeah, a lot of people will be interested in ideological stuff, or a lot of people will be more interested with the money. Like, if that wasn't true, then the market wouldn't really exist, really, I guess, besides just people buying it to use it, to spend it.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't about, I mean, the market does help, like, give it, I mean, it helps give it power, I think. Like, it definitely makes me trust in it more, if that makes any sense. But then at the same time, that's the thing that is also possibly gonna ruin it, because people will focus more on that. It's just how people are gonna use stuff. And I guess that comes back to Bitcoin not having, like, a morality to it, or it's just a tool.
Yeah. I guess the only solution is just, like, it's true that a lot of people that are into Bitcoin just for profit, it's true that they're going to cause problems, or that they can cause problems with the privacy and the regulation and everything. But you can't say that the problem is them trying to profit. That's not the problem. I want to profit too. I use Bitcoin because it makes me richer, right? I mean, and that's because I think privacy makes me richer, or at the very, maybe not monetarily directly, but at the very least, it brings more value to my life, at the very least. And so I can't blame people one bit. I don't think anyone can ever blame someone for trying to make money. If you're looking to blame people, it's you've got to come up with a different argument, and in this case, it's, well, you know, Coinbase. I'm not blaming you for making money, but I'll blame you for doing all kinds of KYC and AML. I'll blame you for, you know, trying to regulate Bitcoin or get it regulated or getting a bit license, stuff like that. So I guess that's what it comes down to. Do you agree, John? I mean, I actually wrote an opinion piece, if you want to find it on our site. It's called Big Money Holding Bitcoin at youmeandbtc.com. And that was months ago, a year ago, year and a half, I don't know. But I covered some of this, and probably some of it was a different opinion than what I'm expressing now. That happens a lot. But anyway, yeah, that's there if you want to check it out. John, any thoughts on Big Money holding Bitcoin? Can you blame them for trying to make money? Would you blame them for other things?
Yeah, no. I mean, because everybody wants to make money on some level, even if it's just a little bit. It's more about how you go about doing it and what you want the money for.
Right.
I guess maybe one thing that you could say, and this is what Tim was getting at with just like, eventually when things grow to a point where you can't really sustain the same ideals, I think that kind of the same thing happens with companies, I guess you could say, or people making money. Because as you start making more and more money, you have to hire more people, and things just get bigger.
Yep.
So I guess if your goal is to make billions of dollars or whatever, maybe that inherently causes problems. I don't know. I think you
Yeah.
could make that argument. It's not that making money itself does. I guess it's more the extent to which you do it.
Right.
Yeah, well, like, whenever there's just these panic sells. Like, whenever you start, like, you can kind of, like, you can still blame people, but it's kind of like I mean, you can't really, there's no way to stop people, really, without turning into, like, we're just gonna have this communist utopia where the money is controlled by this nebulous, non-existent central power that's gonna set everything up from the block, which, actually, I guess communism could use, like, the blockchain to say, like, that's gonna be, I don't know how it would work. Like,
Yeah, there's some kind of project that I heard about a few days ago. I do not know any details,
put,
but
like, Siri, but for the blockchain, it just, like, tells them how to run their lives.
well, yeah, actually, it's been around since, like, I want to say the 70s, and yeah, it's just a giant robot that it's like central planning, but the robot does the central planning.
Yeah.
But anyway, I forget what it was called. I just know that little detail and thought it was interesting. But anyway, yeah, I agree. It's tough. I just skimmed this article because like I said, it's probably my own personal opinion article from a year and a half ago. Probably had a different opinion than I had now. And so just basically what I was saying was there was a big investment trust that was trying to help people make money with Bitcoin and this is a quote from their website, without the challenges of buying, storing, and safekeeping Bitcoins. And that is a problem. When people want to just make money on Bitcoin without learning about what it is, how it works, how you store it, how you safekeep it, I think that's not a net negative necessarily, but it's hardly a positive because, like, if you have people, that's what happens right here with Bitfinex, right? People were in Bitfinex trying to make all kinds of money in Bitfinex, and they didn't know how to store and safekeep their Bitcoin, right? And there we go. Now we have problems because people were trying to make money without knowing the best, or at least without practicing the best ways to keep Bitcoin safe. And so that's where the problem comes in, is where people get involved for the money. So maybe in that sense you can blame the money. They get involved for the money, but they don't get educated. They don't understand the core concepts of Bitcoin. And that lack of understanding is bound to lead to problems. So that I could see. It's not necessarily the money, but it attracts people, kind of recklessly, maybe is a good word there. I don't know. Any thoughts? Does that make sense? If money brings in people without educating them, is that a fair problem to talk about?
Well, it's just people jumping into something without knowing. It's just, read a fucking manual, I guess.
It's kind of like, again, going back to the price and bubbles popping. That's kind of the same thing too, where people jump onto a bubble in Bitcoin or anywhere else. They jump onto a bubble and then, without really knowing what it's about, and then that causes problems later because they have to jump off of the bubble as it starts shrinking, and then it keeps shrinking and it keeps shrinking. It's really the same problem, right? It's the exact same problem where people get involved because they see people making money, but they don't understand it, and then it causes a bubble and then a popped bubble, which this takes us back to my theory about the halvening, which I said I was going to mention a few minutes ago. So I guess I'll just put that out there. I think they said the price has been steadily declining since the halvening, and then today it went kind of way down. I think that's exactly what that is. It's a slowly popping bubble, right? It's a deflating balloon or something. But yeah, I think that's exactly what that is, where people bought Bitcoin before the halvening because they're like, oh, the supply is going to decrease and the price might spike. Yeah, I think people absolutely did that. The price didn't spike, like we said. And so over time, they're just like waiting it out, like, well, all right, I guess it's not going to spike. Yeah, the price is still fairly high. I guess I might as well just sell it. Maybe I profited a tiny bit. Maybe I lost a tiny bit, but I guess it's just not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I'll sell mine. Do you think that is a possibility? Is that what we've seen happening since the halvening? Is just people being like, well, all right, I guess not. I'm going to sell now. Is that the same problem? Uneducated people jumping on the bandwagon?
I feel like that's probably what any new person... Yeah. No, I'd agree with you. They tended to... people who use things without figuring it out first tend to fuck things up. But at the same time, they're like a pretty nice example for everybody else to not follow. Like, I think probably just in general, what you learn from watching other people fuck up because they just are either stupid enough or have the balls to do something, teaches you a lot better than trying to ask about it. You just go, okay, what is this idiot going to do? But like this, I kind of have a little bit of sympathy for these people because it's just like, I just had these in the exchange. What, they're all gone now? You don't have an FDIC? I'm not getting any of this back?
That's our next project, the Bitcoin FDIC.
But there was a lock on the front page of their thing. It said it was strong and
Oh,
encrypted.
yeah. My browser bar was green. It must have been safe.
It was okay.
All right, that's fair. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sympathizing, even if it was their own mistakes. Which actually, let's complicate this question even more. Because we, Tim, you and I, and maybe John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we all fell into the same trap, honestly, at the beginning. We got into Bitcoin because the price was going up. We saw it go from like $14 to $21, and we're like, well, I guess I'll try to buy some, see what happens. Is that true for the both of you? Is that what kind of spurred it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that complicates the question even more because it's like, well, yeah, it leads to problems, but hey, at least they're getting into Bitcoin. And then with your example, Tim, well, yeah, they got hacked, but at the very least, they learned a serious lesson through that, and they might still love Bitcoin, and they might store it safely in the future and use it more wisely. So what about that? Does it end up leading to good things in the future?
It can, and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on how willing people are. Like, sorry to continue, just like, well, I mean, it's either this or that. But
yeah, that's kind of our trademark is maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the you, me, and BTC trademark. It's kind of good, but whatever, who cares?
because we're talking normally about something that requires someone else to use it, or like the person to use it, to actively use it. It's not, like, it. I think that's always going to be the answer because, again, it just depends on if you are willing to learn. Like, we kind of learned from some of our mistakes. Like, I was like, you should have bought when it was $20. And, I mean, it's not so much that you learn, you're just more like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to make really a lot of money doing this, okay. And then you just don't care as much. That's more what happened to us, is we came out of it, like, shell-shocked and at first, so then we like always had alarms on our phone. We're like, oh, dude, it just went up like $10. And then now we're just like, I don't even care. I've seen like $300 drop off in a day, boy. I could give a fuck about $50.
It's serious shell shock.
Call me whenever they say it's dead on CNN.
Yeah.
Isn't that like every weekend?
Exactly.
Yeah. Any thoughts, John? Do people learn from the mistakes of big money and Bitcoin?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, you got a little bit goxed and learned from that, right? I mean, any other stories that any of the three of us have like that? I don't know. I guess, don't buy dark coin and forget about it.
Yeah. Or, yeah, I don't know.
You know what? I like where this is going, and I think we should plan out an episode for this. We should, because we do advice of the week at the end of every show, we should do an episode that kind of culminates some more serious advice and tips that we've learned through 3 years or something now that we've been in this. We can tell actual stories, actual lessons, and just say, this is what we learned. I like that. I like telling stories, and we tell advice already. Are you guys on board with that? Should we do that? And we'll have more time to plan and think of stories that have taught us these lessons. Is that something we could do?
Our tales from the crypto wars. Yeah, I'm good. I'm always down for some feeling bad for myself and how I've lost so much. and sacrifice so much just to
Yeah.
be able to impart my wisdom to you guys.
You loved, you lost, but you learned, right? Were you in the middle of a story, John? Were you about to tell one and I just said no?
No, I was trying to think
Okay.
if there was anything.
No.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess I like the idea of saving it. We'll see what we come up with. One of the big ones that comes to mind is Butterfly Labs, and we definitely got burnt there, but definitely learned from it and had fun. And I'm sure there's got to be 5 or 6 we could come up with. So let's go ahead and put it on the schedule next week or maybe the week after, guys. Come back and we'll have some fun with some stories and some tips. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see really how that famous last words. I don't know how it could go wrong. It sounds perfect. But yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Keep an eye on you, me, and BTC and see what we got coming. I guess we're about ready to wrap up with the first half here then. But since we're going to lose John, I want to know what your advice of the week is, since you won't be here at the end of the show. And since we just mentioned advice, we gotta pin it to you and see what you got for us. Any tips about big money and hacks and investments?
Well, I'll say one thing, that you should consider taking a page out of our book and just give non-committal answers to everything, because if you act like you don't care and you don't really take a hard stance, you can't really take any flack for it later.
No, it's perfect. It's
It's the
completely
most-
defensible. So
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
no idea.
It's the most defensive position, and yeah.
Yeah, there was some exchange with Donald Trump talking about abortion I heard last night, and he's like, well, I guess I'm pro-life, with exceptions. I mean, it's and he's like, well, what should the punishment be? Well, I haven't really decided yet, but I'm pro-life with exceptions. So yeah. All right.
Just a
That's good
$420
advice.
exception.
That's good advice. Never commit to anything. Is that all, John?
Yeah.
All right,
Hopefully
well-
people realize that I'm sarcastic a little bit, at least partly.
Partly.
No, they're like, John, it just doesn't even have a part to him anymore.
All right. Well, we'll be back in 30 seconds, guys. 45 seconds or something. These advertisers keep trying to push the limits. I say 30 seconds, they say 42. I say 32 seconds, they say 38. But we'll be right back, guys, with a special, super special guest. See you guys. Peace. Are you tired of Bitcoin dice and ready for something different? Try LuckyBit, the original falling coin game, at luckybit. It's the most exciting Bitcoin game on the web. You can bet on 5 different payout lines and win up to 999 times your bet. You can even use their faucet to get some free Bitcoin. Dice is boring. Play different at LuckyBit. Check it out at luckybit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I hope you enjoyed that message from one of our sponsors. Actually, I'm serious about that. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and you should go check them out. But like I said, I've been teasing you all day long. We got our super special guest today with us here, Mr. Ryan Tofil. And I don't really know what title you want me to give you, so I'll just leave that up to you. But thanks for joining us today.
Oh yeah, well thanks for having me. You're very lucky.
Oh yeah, I guess I'd go with like Grandmaster, something like that. That could be a good title for you. You are a chess champion, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I've played a little bit of chess before. I was probably better
Dabble.
when I was 6 than I am now. But yeah, I was like played some pretty famous players and stuff. But that's not really that cool when you think
I
about
don't
it.
know. I don't know. It's pretty cool. If you tell people on the internet that you play chess, they love you. Anyway, so
Definitely,
I guess
yeah. I tell everybody that. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm real good with the rooks and stuff, man.
Have you ever played chess, Tim?
Yes.
Do you think you could beat Ryan?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
somebody's got to be pretty good at something like that obscure for you to bring it up. It'd be like if you were talking about like that guy is so good at paper mache. Like,
Sure, I'm good at chess.
yeah, you're probably
It is kind of hard to bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to bring up without sounding like you're just forcing it in there.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't come up naturally.
Well, the other thing, this was not planned or anything, but Ryan just happened to invite me to his LinkedIn profile today. And so I clicked on it, accept, and I was going through his history, and he's got the other thing that he has plenty of experience in is public announcement. I saw several listings on there for like sports announcing or PA, and he's been on the radio at my own work. I work with him. So he's got plenty of experience there, and that's why we had him on today. I guess he's just got a good voice. I've
got a face for radio, dude.
Oh yeah, the best one out there. Almost as good as Tim's radio face.
Yeah, wait, what about me? Yeah, don't go be saying things like
that. Yeah, I'm
to the
sorry,
Grandmaster.
Tim
I don't get any
definitely
kind of
takes the cake.
Nice names. Daniel just tries to shit on me at every point and acts like I'm the one who prolonged things.
Shut up, Tim.
Well,
see, right there, he has it already.
Man, all right. So the one thing, though, the only thing that you could ever think of on planet Earth that Ryan is slightly less experienced in, he's still an expert, but slightly less experienced, that's Bitcoin, all right? He's somewhat new to Bitcoin. So that's what we got scheduled to talk about today. Basically, we've had a few Bitcoin newbie episodes before, where they come on the show, they know very little about Bitcoin, and they just ask questions. And we certainly want that to happen today. You're welcome and encouraged to ask anything at any time, and we'll try our best to answer your questions. But before we do any of that, or as kind of a kickoff starting point, I want to know what your opinion is of Bitcoin. What have you heard about Bitcoin? Have you heard good things? Have you heard bad things? Do you have any idea how it works? I just want to get a complete overview of what you know about Bitcoin and what you think about Bitcoin.
Well, okay, what I know about Bitcoin is pretty much absolutely nothing. I don't even have a grasp on like paper currency yet.
All right.
Like I'm still learning.
Yeah. Bitcoin is like money that only exists in cyberspace, dude.
All right.
So then there's some value tied to it somehow, and there's like a finite amount of it, but like you can also mine it and like get some more of it. Also, there was some nonsense though, dude.
All right, what's
there
the
was
nonsense?
Nonsense a few years ago where like people had Bitcoin, and then the big dogs that were holding the Bitcoin that the people had went bankrupt, and the Bitcoin went with them, dude.
All right, there is definitely plenty of nonsense. We actually just a half hour ago we covered another hack. There is a Bitcoin exchange. All those big shots out there that you're talking about. They were holding tons of Bitcoin for their users, and they were hacked for $60 million worth of Bitcoin. Or, I don't know, they said lost or stolen. We don't have all the details yet. But yeah, there's plenty of nonsense out there, and it's certainly not the first Bitcoin hack that we've experienced. I'm assuming, though, I don't know if you remember the names or anything, but I'm assuming the one you're referring to is Mt. Gox. Do you know if that's true?
Maybe it was Fannie Mae.
Fannie Mae?
Yeah.
Wait.
Freddie Mac, dude.
All right. That's probably something different. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they had Bitcoin in mind all along. Maybe they're the ultimate masterminds behind every scam ever. It's actually Fannie Mae. It's possible, but yeah. No, Mt. Gox was the first real big Bitcoin hack. They were holding tons and tons of money, and there's still some dispute about whether they were hacked or whether the CEO just ran away with the money. And that's a big thing, but yeah, it caused a huge splash. I don't know, Tim, do you remember the price change when that happened? Was it like, I want to say it went from like 160 down to like 70? Was that, am I in the right range there? Maybe it dropped from like 300 down to 100. It's so far back, I can't remember. But yeah, the price.
I think Gox was more around like 300, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it went from 300 something down to 100 something. But yeah, the price crashed, which is also happening today. We're down from like 650 this morning to like 520, 530-ish right now. So yeah, is that nonsense to you, Ryan?
Oh,
I saw your eyes widen.
That's an incredible drop, dude. Yeah. So, like, there are some people out there who now have less money than they used to.
Less value and maybe not less Bitcoin, though. You never know.
Well,
Value is pretty
right.
subjective. That's actually on this show, everything is subjective. That's another thing that we just talked about. Is you never make any strong opinions. You're just like, yeah, it might be good, it might be bad, because then you can never be wrong.
And that way you don't offend anyone.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely the safest space on the internet. For anyone out there that's worried about it, safe space right here. You're good to go. But, yeah, anyway, so Mt. Gox, nonsense, digital currency. That's, just the fact that you mentioned mining puts you pretty well ahead of a lot of people out there. I don't know. Do you know any details about mining or what it's for or how it works?
Well, okay, so, like, I'm assuming that there's, like, a really small Latino or Asian guy just hitting Control-C, Control-V, and, like, producing more Bitcoin inside that box.
Yeah. Actually, that's
for all
exactly
we know,
what it is.
for all we know, yes. That's completely possible.
There are... people have hand mined Bitcoin before. I think I've heard, they get out their paper and pencil and calculate the hashes. Pretty sure that's happened in the past, but obviously it's incredibly slow. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there are little elves inside Bitcoin miners, but however it works, this is always such a hard concept. After being here for 3 years in the space, it's still hard to explain what mining is and what it does. But I guess the best I can come up with is they process the transactions, they verify the transactions, they encrypt them, they put them into the blockchain, which is another word we got to talk about in a second. But they basically just they run the network, they handle all the network transactions and everything, and they get a little reward for doing so. And because of all the work, the more miners there are, the more secure Bitcoin is, because it just means that in order for a malicious person to manipulate the network, they would have to compete and essentially override all of the other miners. They would have to get 51% of the mining power in order to cheat, basically. So, am I making sense? Am I?
No, not at all. I have no idea what you just said. But you did say blockchain.
Yeah.
Which I know what that is.
Oh, all right. Hit me. What is it?
Okay, you're playing Street Fighter and you parry attacks successfully in a row. Like you stop
and
the guy from
build up
punching
the counter punch you're gonna get back.
Yeah, blockchain.
Like every block.
Yeah. So like you block one and then you block another and you link the blocks together and you got a big strong blockchain.
Yep.
All right, you nailed that one too. So I guess we'll move on to the next topic. All right. No, I guess I'll explain a little. No, I'll leave it to you, Tim. Other than Street Fighter blockchains, what is the Bitcoin blockchain?
The Bitcoin blockchain is where all the transactions are stored, where every single time a block is mined, it is connected to the blockchain, and it contains transactions that are made on the Bitcoin on the blockchain. And
yeah,
and they're on the blockchain, and then the transactions are why you need the blocks to be. They call it you hash the blocks, and that means that they're finding the block to add to the blockchain to further be able to make transactions, and yeah,
no, that's
think of it as
good.
You can't think of it as mining. You have to think of it as just like making computers do problems till, like, if you just had computers do problems until they find the answer as a way to just do work, so that then no one else would do it unless they had a lot more computers.
This is the part where being hard to explain comes in.
And we just go, no, it makes sense. I swear to God, that's why I have money in it.
Tim, even I hardly have any idea what that last sentence or two was all about, mining or whatever.
I didn't know either, man. I just let my mouth go whenever it goes with stuff like this because I have no idea.
I think your blockchain stuff was pretty good, though. It's just a chain of transactions. Every transaction or chunk of transactions is built on top of and contains all of the previous transactions. That's a block. A chunk of transactions is a block, but it is built on top of all the previous blocks. And that's why it's so secure and so verifiable, is because every transaction is built on top of all the other ones. So you can't just create imaginary Bitcoins out of nowhere. They have to come from a previous transaction in a legitimate fashion and in a verifiable fashion. So that's
basically
mostly the blockchain.
Saying.
Yeah, that's what Tim said.
Like in an email, when you correspond back and forth 10 different times and there's a copy of the whole conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's even better, though, because that's true. That's exactly what it is. But the latest email is able to cryptograph, because right now, the way email works, I could hit the reply button, I could scroll down to whatever you said to me, Ryan, and I could change it. I could change what you said to me and I could still reply. With Bitcoin, it's because of cryptography, which is another whole topic that we could get into, but it's cryptographically provable that all of the previous transactions are legitimate, and it's math. It's provable. 10 plus 10 equals 20. It's just as provable as that, and that's one of the reasons people like it, is just because every transaction can be so logically and mathematically verified. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but I just feel most people don't have any idea what you're talking about either. So
no, exactly.
I am not in the minority here.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
No, you mentioned it being using email as an example. It's kind of like a lot of people compare it to the internet at the beginning of the 90s, where the average person isn't either they can't take the time or they just don't know how to use the internet. They do not have they don't know how to put in the right to get to a website. But then technology and stuff gets put on top of it. Hold on.
We're taking a quick break there. I'm pretty sure the sentence you just said, Tim, was something like, they don't know how to put on for the right to get on internet. So you left out a lot of words there, but maybe people knew what you meant. Sorry, continue.
No, I think I probably just broke up.
No, this. You do this all the time, Tim. We've talked about this before. You just skip words. Anyway, continue.
That's because I feel like people are getting what I'm trying to get at, because...
That's because... talk about. Anyway.
Good thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's email for money. That's a common comparison, or the internet for money. No, I wasn't saying
it's internet for money, but not just because of it being bigger, but because it's in the stages still. You're saying you're not in the minority for not understanding it, and it's because it's still in the stages where, you don't know if it's going to get to as big as the internet, but it's in the stages where you kind of have to get a grasp of it before you're even willing to get involved. And if you don't have something pushing you to get involved or an interest with it, you're probably not going to know.
Yeah. I'm all for. I agree with all that.
Did I use all the right words?
No, but it takes a lot of learning, a lot of figuring, and it is complicated. There is no question about that. But here's my So what do you think then, Ryan? You're not in the minority. You don't understand all this stuff, cryptographically provable and everything. So you sounded like you had an opinion. Is that a problem?
Well, wait, a problem that I'm in the No, I'm just saying that this is some complicated stuff if you've never been introduced to it before, and I don't know how many average people out there have been asked to pay in Bitcoin, at the supermarket or McDonald's or anything. Also, I have a hard enough time understanding super simple things like baseball or cheesecake.
Nobody understands baseball.
Well, cheesecake, that's pretty complicated. You don't even know how many different kinds of sugar go into cheesecake. You know?
Yeah, but like it's cake and cheese and listen, it's just that blows my mind. And then you're talking about mining fragments of chain commands.
dude,
No,
honest
mining
question,
math.
is there anywhere we can get cheesecake near here? Because now I'm craving it.
This is the Pregnant Mothers podcast now?
Yeah, listen, Tim. I went to the Cheesecake Factory in like 30 minutes from here.
Are you, dude? We're going tonight, or I don't care if you're coming or not. I'm gonna be there. If it's seriously
Daniel's
30
going.
minutes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe it was like 40.
All right. Well, it's on the schedule now. All right. So here's, I think one of my, we got a couple wrap up questions, but you know, that's, you know, you got some good thoughts there. You're right. It is complicated. It is hard to understand. And you're right. Baseball and cheesecake are hard to understand too, but we still love them, right?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's why that's one of the common comparisons with Bitcoin is like a credit card. Nobody actually knows what kind of communication is sent to who and what number means what on their credit card and how long it takes to verify a transaction and then how many more days it takes to actually move the money between these giant banks and everything and settle the transactions. Nobody actually knows, but for most people, especially for me, I worked a drive-through forever and I hated cash. I loved credit cards. They're way more convenient and faster and whatever. And most people know, like, okay, yeah, let's, a credit card is just easier to use, more convenient, whatever, all kinds of reasons. So let me put it to you. What's stopping you from using Bitcoin? Is it because it's hard to understand? Is it a lack of use cases?
Well, I'll tell you, man. I was a waiter.
All right.
You get somebody paying the bill in cash, then Uncle Sam never knows how much they tipped you. Credit card, it's all on the computer, and there's some guy somewhere looking at it. And,
I don't know, Tim, can you identify with that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, cash tips are way nicer at the end of the night whenever you're like, no, I'll just claim this much. Wait, how much do I have to claim for this? 58?
Yeah.
I claim 62.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was always suspicious because I made $4 in tips off of $1,500 in business. But I guess I was just a bad waiter as far as the government's concerned. There's somebody looking at it going like, oh my goodness, like what did this guy do at his tables?
Yeah, I guess, I don't know how much of this I've ever mentioned to you, Ryan. We didn't mention it just now on the show. But we call ourselves a Bitcoin and Liberty podcast. So I am all for escaping the clutches of Uncle Sam. I give you kudos for that one. So.
Oh, well, you know, I just do what you gotta do. And if it means sticking it to the government so that I can walk out with a little extra Skrilla in my pockets, you know, I work hard for that. I'm opening bottles of wine and stuff and getting people more bread. Oh my gosh, dude. When people, like, throughout the whole meal keep asking for more rolls, like, the other food's already there and they could be eating that, but it's like they want to ask for more rolls, like, just to prove a point, just to get me busy. And it's always when, like, I am the most frustrated and occupied, and they've got to have their roll. The rolls are terrible anyways. They're, like, all hard and everything. They've been sitting out for 6 hours. They're probably just, like, putting them under the table or something.
So they prop up the chair with it. My table moves. Can you please move this? No, I don't want to fucking move your chair.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's stick it to Uncle Sam. And that's one of the issues with Bitcoin. Yeah, plenty of people have brought it up. And there are some workarounds to keeping Bitcoin anonymous, but it is also really public. It's on the internet. Every single transaction, because it's in the blockchain, like we talked about, I can go online and see every single transaction. Now, I don't know who is doing those transactions. I don't know who they're going from or who they're going to. And there are some ways to keep yourself anonymous more safely, more truly, which we don't need to get into. But yeah, it's definitely an issue when things are public and accessible and not private. That's definitely an issue. So that's a factor in Bitcoin, but it's deal withable, so we deal with it. All right. So definitely Ryan Tofil, thanks for joining us today. We got one more question, which I probably should have warned you about because it takes some people a little bit to think about it. But I don't know. You seem like the kind of guy that can think on your feet. So
He seems to be coming back pretty quick.
We, at the end of every episode, like to give advice of the week. Now, it can literally be anything. It can be about what we just talked about. It can be about your ex-girlfriend who smashed your window in and how you should, avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got for us? If you had to, you got the whole world listening right now, okay? This is your opportunity to make every person on Earth more enlightened, wiser, safer. Literally, any good thing you can think of, you can give to the entire world right now. So what you got for us?
Okay, well, I'm gonna go off of, so this thing just happened to me yesterday, dude. So, I work in an office setting and had a performance review yesterday.
Oh, those are tough.
Oh, dude, and just the airing of the grievances. Listen, buddy, I've got a few problems with the job you've been doing, and you're gonna hear about it. Anyway, this is the period that you would normally, if you were going to end up with a different compensation package, that this was the point you would try and negotiate for it.
All right.
And I forgot what my salary was. And so, like...
But I want to have $35,000. What, you're getting 40, kid? I don't know.
Yeah. So, like I knew about how much of a raise I was due for. And got less than that because I thought that I was making a different amount than I was.
Oh, man.
So you should always know how much money your boss pays you if you're trying to get more.
All right.
If you are salaried, keep track.
Good tip. Pretty practical, too. There's probably some people out there that'll be in performance reviews tomorrow morning. And they, tonight they're going to be looking up, what they get in their bank account and everything. So, you've already helped the world within about 12 hours or so. It's a better place, all thanks to you. So
we're going to keep this for our information for the next couple days, but whatever.
Well, but by the time people are listening to this, it's all under control.
You were helping people in the future. Yes, Ryan. Kudos.
Yes. All right, Tim. Well, I guess that turns us over to you. I mean, I don't know if you can top that, but I feel like you got to have some tip for the whole world.
I was kind of hoping you'd just forget about me after I bitched about that.
Well, is that your advice? Try to be forgotten, try to be small?
Try to be small. Don't let anybody notice you. No, again, I'm just doing the obvious one of don't leave your fucking Bitcoins in a Bitcoin marketplace and exchange.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to, like, if you're gonna try to trade them and make money, I guess pay attention a lot. And if you lose it, it's gonna happen. They're gonna get hacked and then you're not gonna be able to pull your coins out. And even if you don't lose them, you're still gonna be freaking out like, oh, I don't know if I lost them or not. And you don't really need that. So don't hold any amount of money on somebody else's website.
Yeah. This one's for you, Ryan, since you're new to it. Never, ever, ever, ever trust someone else with a good chunk of your Bitcoins because it could get hacked and it could get stolen. Now, that can happen with banks, too. Like, say, some old geezer called Janet Yellen could come along and say, you know what? I'm just going to make a bunch more of what you have, but it's going to be mine. So yours is going to be less valuable. I don't know if it's actually Janet Yellen that makes those decisions, but she has something to do with the Fed or something. I don't know.
I think she stepped down. No, is she still current? Yeah, she is.
I don't know, and I don't really care. I'm just gonna stick to my Bitcoins and go on with that. Which, I guess for me the biggest takeaway or most important topic of this show was just talking about using Bitcoin. When I had to ask Ryan why he doesn't always use it, and we had to talk about how hard it is to understand. And so I'm just going to make that my tip, my idea for the day is, it is hard to understand. But I guess the advice part would just be, don't try to understand everything. If you want to, if you can, if you got the ability and the means to research it and learn it day and night, a lot of people do that. And it's amazing. It's great. Sure, go for it. But you can use Bitcoin without knowing all about it. You got to have a reason to. Now, for me, sometimes the reason is purse.io, where I get discounts on Amazon because I use Bitcoin. Or sometimes the reason is just privacy. I don't want people to know how much money I have and where I have it and how much money they think that I owe them. Nope, sorry, you're not going to get that information from me. So there's all kinds of reasons that may or may not apply to lesser or greater degrees for different people, but they do exist, and I can't force you to learn why you should use Bitcoin. I can tell you why I think you should use Bitcoin, but I don't know. I guess I hope people have an open mind and just say, oh, that might make sense. Try to learn more and might end up using it. All right, I talked too long right there, so we're going to call it. Mr. Ryan Tofil, any last words? Thanks a lot for being here again.
Yeah, no, I feel betrayed because you told me we were going to talk about video games. And
I thought we were going to play about.
Yeah. Well, also those that Gatorade, I put that there just to lure you in a little bit more. So
lemon lime.
Yeah. I know you always go for that lemon lime. I know what you like.
Well, you gotta hydrate. I mean, if you could see how much I was sweating, you'd be grossed out.
Yeah, that's why we do radio. I know I promised you the belly rub, but I already got the recording, so that might have to get cut out now because I don't need to convince you to. Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks for being here. The website is youmeandbtc.com. You can find all of our past episodes there. Leave some comments. Tell us how much you hate Ryan or how much you want to have him back. That's the ultimate thing. Ryan, once you're on the internet, you got to open up to flame wars and, hatred and vitriol and who knows what. So
unlike daily life, no one ever treats you badly out here.
Ryan, have I ever treated you badly? Ever?
You're the first guest he's ever gone after. He doesn't normally show this kind of thing. It's normally just me. But yes, thank you, Ryan. And thank you, guys. Everybody out there.
Oh, no problem, Tim.
You, me, and BTC.com. All of the music that you're listening to right now was from John Stuart. And we'll see you next Thursday, guys. Peace.